Chapter 10, Origin of the Perpetual Adoration by Victor Hugo from the book Les Misérables. However, this almost sepulchral parlor, of which we have sought to convey an idea, is a purely local trait which is not reproduced with the same severity in other convents. At the convent of the Rue du Temple, in particular, which belonged in truth to another order, the black shutters were replaced by brown curtains, and the parlor itself was a salon with a polished wood floor, whose windows were draped in white muslin curtains and whose walls admitted all sorts of frames. A portrait of a Benedictine nun with unveiled face, painted bouquets, and even the head of a Turk. It is in that garden of the Temple convent that stood that famous chestnut tree, which was renowned as the finest and the largest in France, and which bore the reputation, among the good people of the 18th century, of being the father of all the chestnut trees of the realm. As we have said, this convent of the Temple was occupied by Benedictines of the Perpetual Adoration, Benedictines quite different from those who depended on Cytox. This order of the Perpetual Adoration is not very ancient and does not go back more than 200 years. In 1649, the Holy Sacrament was profaned on two occasions a few days apart, in two churches in Paris, at Saint Sulpice and at Saint Jean-en-Grève, a rare and frightful sacrilege which set the whole town in an uproar. The prior and vicar general of Saint Germain-des-Prés, ordered a solemn procession of all his clergy, in which the Pope's nuncio officiated. But this expiation did not satisfy two sainted women, Madame Courtin, Marquise de Baux, and the Comtesse de Chedovia. This outrage committed on the most holy sacrament of the altar, though but temporary, would not depart from these holy souls, and it seemed to them that it could only be extenuated by a perpetual adoration in some female monastery. Both of them, one in 1652, the other in 1653, made donations of notable sums to Mother Catherine de Bar, called of the Holy Sacrament, a Benedictine nun, for the purpose of founding, to this pious end, a monastery of the Order of Saint Benoit. The first permission for this foundation was given to Mother Catherine de Bar by M. de Metz, Abbé of Saint Germain, on condition that no woman could be received unless she contributed 300 livres income, which amounts to 6,000 livres to the principal. After the Abbé of Saint Germain, the king accorded letters patent, and all the rest, abbatial charter and royal letters, was confirmed in 1654 by the Chamber of Accounts and the Parliament. Such is the origin of the legal consecration, of the establishment of the Benedictines, of the perpetual adoration, of the Holy Sacrament at Paris. Their first convent was a new building in the Rue Cassette, out of the contributions of Mesdames de Baux and de Chedovia. This order, as it will be seen, was not to be confounded with the Benedictine nuns of Cytox. It mounted back to the Abbé of Saint Germain-des-Prés, in the same manner that the Ladies of the Sacred Heart go back to the General of the Jesuits, and the Sisters of Charity to the General of the Lazarists. It was also totally different from the Bernardines of the Petit Picpus, whose interior we have just shown. In 1657, Pope Alexander Roman VII had authorized, by a special brief, the Bernardines of the Rue Petit Picpus to practice the perpetual adoration like the Benedictine nuns of the Holy Sacrament. But the two orders remained distinct nonetheless.